Bibby Bobka, Bibby is here, and you got your free entry into the free October drawing. Thanks for popping in here, Bibby. I'm doing well, and hello, Don. That gives you a second entry. Any chatting in the live stream when we first go live on the timestamp of 10:25. So if you want to type a couple more comments in there, you can get a couple more bonus entries. All right, Bibby. Thanks. There. Now you got 3. Has to be an honest to goodness comment though, not 1 or 2 words every time you hit the enter button. But thanks for being here there, Bibby. You're the first in the live chat today. We are doing a Hall of Fame Friday special today. We're going to do the Rogers Hornsby. We're going to do Rogers Hornsby. And then also late breaking news. Whitey Ford did pass away today. So rest in peace, Whitey Ford. He was born in 1928 and just passed away today, October 9th, 2020. So we'll be going over his biography after we do the Hall of Fame Friday content. And that will be my show for today, except for general chatting along the way. So we do have 4 more minutes. Let me get you your 3 entries into the giveaway here, Bibby. Bibby Bobka. Get your entries in here. Put you in my wheel of names. Here's 1, 2. There you go, Bibby. You got 3 entries into my October drawing. I'm not going to reveal all the cards that are in here, but you can see a Corbin Martin on the back and a Keston Hiura rookie debut. These are, since this is October, there's 10 baseball cards in here. And I will give you a hint that they all are rookie debut cards, primarily from 2019. So there were a bunch of rookie debut cards in 2019. So I'll leave you later on in the month, just before we do the drawing at the end. And you can look on my About Me tab on my YouTube channel there, and you will see different other entry points to get into the free drawing. All right. So, but thanks for being first in the live chat today, Bibby. Hopefully you're looking forward to our Hall of Fame Friday. You could probably see on my little holographic emblem down here when it was on there. I just changed it off and went back to live stream so I can keep an eye on the chat. You could see the wheel of names spinning on the hologram here. This is a hologram. This is my newest sticker I've got that I send out with some of my product. Here, I'll show you what one of them look like. I'll pull one out and kind of preview my holographic emblem here. You can see it's a Donald Blomdahl Hall of Fame Veteran Sports Cards and Collectibles. It's a little holographic card here, and that's what I replaced my plain Jane sticker label that I put on the outside of packages. And as you can see, one of the new things a live streamer has is you can highlight somebody's comments, and or you could put your own information at the top. So if you see that little blue pinned comment at the top of the live chat, that gives you, I'll post up different messages and things. Right now I'm promoting my eBay listing for my silver mystery packs. All right. And that's a link there to bring you right to my eBay page for that item number. And if you click on that link, it will bring you right to eBay and show you my mystery pack products I got up for sale. I am continually adding to the production line. Right now, I think I've got 35 mystery bags. I'm hoping by this weekend to have at least a minimum of 50, but we'll keep creating as long as I have cards to create with. As far as making these mystery bags could possibly run into next year, but they'll be labeled as my 2020 50 Years of Baseball Silver Mystery Packs. And you'll see in the description in the eBay listing what you will get in there. So we do have 10:30, so without further ado, we will get into our Hall of Fame Friday content, and we will be starting out with Rogers Hornsby today for our Hall of Fame Friday. So just a little lineup and a little preview on what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do his Hall of Fame induction, and I will be doing Rogers Hornsby's biography also to tie in, since we only have one Hall of Famer today for 1942. And after this week, I believe I've got 4 more weeks, and then I'll finish this series off for Hall of Fame inductees. That'll cover us all the way back to the first Hall of Famers that were inducted in, pretty sure it was 1936, yes. So next week we'll be doing 1939, and then 38 and 37, 36. We've got 4 more years of Hall of Fame inductees to cover, and then I will have went over all the inductions for all of the Hall of Famers up to date, including 2020 for Derek Jeter and Larry Walker and those that were inducted this year. So without further ado, we are going to get into Rogers Hornsby's induction information. So Rogers Hornsby's, whose full name was Rogers Hornsby, was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1942. His primary team was the St. Louis Cardinals, and his primary position was a second baseman. So off the field, Rogers Hornsby was tough, uncompromising, and outspoken. On it, he was perhaps the greatest right-handed batter in baseball history. Hornsby's, whose modern era season record of a .424 batting average and a .358 lifetime mark for 23 big league champion campaigns, established him as the standard for right-handed batters and was elected into the Hall of Fame in 1942. He led the National League in batting 7 times, including a fantastic 6-year stretch from 1920 to 1925, during which he averaged .402. In the dugout, Hornsby was also a successful manager, leading the St. Louis Cardinals to their first World Series title in 1926. Yet 2 months after winning the championship, Hornsby was fired. The man, who John McGraw called a better hitter than Babe Ruth, lived by his own rules, which included not drinking, smoking, or attending movie theaters, so as to not strain his eyes. Hornsby's iron determination and belief that a ball player could achieve almost anything if he tried hard enough were the results of his own experiences. He was a skinny 5'11", 135-pound infielder when he batted for the first time in the National League on September 10th, 1915, and he choked up on the bat and crouched over the plate. He batted only .246 in 18 games that season, and manager Miller Huggins of the Cardinals told him at the close of the campaign, "I think, son, that you should be farmed out." The modern farm system was in its infancy in 1915, and Hornsby did not understand Huggins' statement. He thought the manager meant that he should work on a farm to build up his physique. So he went to work on a farm that winter and built himself up to 165 pounds. The first day that new Hornsby went to the plate, he hit the first pitch off the center field fence for a triple. It was only the beginning. The glory years were immediately ahead, 10 years during which Hornsby terrorized National League pitching to the tune of 7 batting titles, 3 400 seasons, 2 home run titles, and 4 RBI crowns. For 6 amazing seasons in succession, his batting averages were .370, .397, .401, .384, .424, and .403, for a composite .402. His .424 in 1924 is his highest single-season average of the modern era. Rogers and Ty Cobb are the only modern players to hit .400 3 times. He was named the National League's most valuable player in 1925 and repeated in 1929. Hornsby's, who also managed 6 teams over 14 seasons, passed away on January 5th, 1963. He's the only guy I know who could hit .350 in the dark, said Frankie Frisch. As far as his career at a glance, he played in 2,259 games, had 8,173 at-bats, scored 1,579 runs, had 2,930 hits, 541 doubles, 169 triples, 301 home runs, had 1,584 RBIs, 135 stolen bases, 1,038 walks. He had a career batting average of .358, an OPS of 1.010, and an on-base percentage of .434, with a slugging percentage of .577. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals from 1915 to 1926. In 1927, he played for the New York Giants. 1928, he played for the Boston Braves, the Chicago Cubs in 1929 to 1932, then the St. Louis Cardinals again in 1933 for 1 year, and then the St. Louis Browns from 1933 to 1937. He pretty much mirrored his playing and managing career, as in when he also managed for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1925 and 26, the Boston Braves in 1928, the Chicago Cubs in 1930 through 32, the St. Louis Browns from 1933 to 1937, the St. Louis Browns again in 1952 for 1 year, and then also in 52 and 53 for the Cincinnati Reds. So that is, never realized he was such a good hitter. Oh yes, Rogers Hornsby was a good player. That is for sure. So there we have it. Our only inductee from our Hall of Fame Friday, 1942 Hall of Fame inductee, Rogers Hornsby. All right, now we will get right into, let me just preview some of his cards real quick, and then we will get into his biography. All right, so these are my cards that I have in my Hall of Fame, my Hall of Fame collection. Where I sort my baseball cards by Hall of Fame players. And then I do have more than this, but the other ones that I have that I did not select out, they are all duplicates. So I took out all my different cards I have for Rogers Hornsby. So this is a Cooperstown 2013 product, 1942 Rogers Hornsby. Then we have a newer card. This is a Rogers Hornsby St. Louis Cardinals, but this is from 2019 Panini from last year. Okay, this is an older card, an all-time record holder, Rogers Hornsby's of the St. Louis Cardinals, and this I believe is from a 1985 TCG product. This is a 1942 Cooperstown. I believe this one is let me see if I could see the copyright down there. I can't. But this is another Panini product, a newer product. There it is. Oh, it's right up there. 2017. All right. Then we got a Baseball's Great, an older card, swell product. Rogers Hornsby, second base. And this year on this card is a 1990. All right. 1990 swell baseball card. Here's an Upper Deck card for Major League Baseball 125th anniversary. Rogers Hornsby's .424 average in 1924 is the highest of the 20th century. All right. And this Upper Deck product is, let me find the year real quick, 1994. Okay. This is Diamond Legends Major League Baseball 125th anniversary, Rogers Hornsby. And this one is, again, an Upper Deck. This one is a 1994 also. And then this one here, I only brought this one out because it is the base card for the, again, this is 2012 Panini. So in 2012, 2013, they did this Hall of Fame collection for Panini products. And it's a Cooperstown set. But this is the base card in that set. I do have a complete set of both the 92 and 93. One of these days or weeks coming up, months, I will highlight the complete baseball card set for this 2012 and 2013 product. But then I have the little sparkly one here from back in the day, and this is a short print. This is card number 284 out of 299 for Rogers Hornsby. And then the last one I have here is this Rogers Hornsby when he was a manager for the Cincinnati Reds. Robert Hone, at this rate, you could call it Final Friday. You could, dead people. Rest in peace, Bob Gibson and Whitey Ford. Yeah, two great baseball players, very close together, passing away. All right, John Fishman says, "Hi, Donald. How you doing there? I like the crackle card." Oh, the crackle card? Is that what you call these? The crackle cards? The snap, crackle, pop? But this one here is from the 1953 Ultimate Series, the cards that never were. But this was a reprint product that Topps did too on this, a 1953 and a 1954 series baseball cards. So just wanted to highlight through those, and then now we'll get into the biography for Rogers Hornsby after his Hall of Fame induction that we just did. All right, let me get a sip of water here real quick. All right, hopefully you guys are having a good Friday. It's a cloudy, gloomy. It's not supposed to rain till maybe sometime tonight, but it is nonetheless a good day today. All right, so let's go over Rogers Hornsby's biography. Rogers Hornsby Sr., and we'll get into that in just a minute here, you'll see, was born April 27th, 1896, and passed away on January 5th, 1963, of which I was 5 years old at that time. Nicknamed the Raj, was an American baseball infielder, manager, and coach who played 23 seasons in Major League Baseball. He played for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1915 through 1926 and 1933, the New York Giants in 1927, the Boston Braves in 1928, the Chicago Cubs in 1929 to 32, and the St. Louis Browns from 1933 to 1937. He was named the National League's most valuable player twice and was a member of one World Series championship team. Born in Winters, Texas, and raised in Fort Worth, Texas, Hornsby played for several semi-professional and minor league teams. In 1915, he began his major league career with the St. Louis Cardinals and remained with the team for 12 seasons. During this period, Hornsby won his first MVP award, and the Cardinals won the 1926 World Series. After that season, he spent one season with the New York Giants and another with the Boston Braves before being traded to the Chicago Cubs. He played with the Cubs for 4 years and won his second MVP award before the team released him in 1932. Hornsby resigned with the Cardinals in 1933, but was released partway through the season and was picked up by the St. Louis Browns. He remained there until his final season in 1937. From 1925 to 1937, Hornsby was intermittently his own manager. After retiring as a player, he managed the Browns in 1952 and the Cincinnati Reds from 1952 to 1953. All right. Elliot Breaks is in the house. It's so sad all these legends are passing away. Wish I could stay, but got to go. Have a good one, Donald. No problem there, Elliot. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. Don't forget, thummies up, thummies up, thummies up for me if you come into the stream. Moderators, please help me out if you can. Please ask everybody to give me a thumbs up and try and share the stream out if you can. All right. Hornsby is regarded as one of the best hitters of all time. He had 2,930 hits and 301 home runs in his career. His career batting average of .358 is second only to Ty Cobb at .367 in MLB history. He also won 2 Triple Crowns and batted .400 or more 3 times during his career. He is the only player to hit 40 home runs and bat .400 in the same year, 1922. His batting average for the 1924 season was .424, a mark that no player has matched since. He was elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1942 and the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame in 2014. Hornsby married 3 times, in 1918, in 1924, and 1957. He had 2 children. Known as someone who was difficult to get along with, he was not well liked by his fellow players. He never smoked, drank, or went to the movies, but frequently gambled on horse races during his career. As far as early life, Hornsby was born in Winters, Texas, the last of Ed and Mary Rogers Hornsby's 6 children. Hornsby was 2 when his father died of unknown causes. 4 years later, the surviving Hornsbys moved to Fort Worth, Texas, so Hornsby's brothers could get jobs in the meatpacking industry to support the family. Hornsby started playing baseball at a very young age. He once said, "I can't remember anything that happened before I had a baseball in my hand." He took a job with the Swift and Company meat industry plant as a messenger boy when he was 10. He also served as a substitute infielder on its baseball team. By the age of 15, Hornsby was already playing for several semi-professional teams. He also played baseball for Northside High School until 10th grade, when he dropped out to take a full-time job at Swift and Company. While he was in high school, Hornsby also played on the football team alongside future College Hall of Famer Bo McMillan. As far as his minor league career, in 1914, Hornsby's oldest brother, Everett, a minor league baseball player for many years, arranged for Rogers to get a tryout with the Texas League's Dallas Steers. He made the team, but did not play in any games for the Steers. He was released after only 2 weeks. Following the dismissal, he signed with the Hugo Scouts of the Class D Texas-Oklahoma League as their shortstop for $75 a month. Today, that would equate to $1,914 a month. The Scouts went out of business a third way through the season, and Hornsby's contract was sold to Denison Champions of the same league for $125. Which would be $3,191 today. With both teams in 1914, Hornsby batted .232 and committed 45 errors in 113 games. The Denison team changed its name to the Denison Railroaders and joined the Western Association in 1915. They raised Hornsby's salary to $90 a month, which would be $2,275 today. Hornsby's average improved that season to .277 in 119 games, but he made 58 errors. Nonetheless, his contributions helped the Railroaders win the Western Association pennant, and at the end of the season, a writer from Sporting News said that Hornsby was one of about a dozen Western Association players to show any major league potential. Pop in the chat here real quick. Robert Hone says, we are fined even though we have hurricanes to the right of us and fires to the left of us, and the twain shall not meet. Please. We'll be praying for you there, Robert, that you stay safe, sandwiched between hurricanes and fires. Oh, my word. What a challenge there. All right. So next we have his early time with the St. Louis Cardinals. In 1915 to 1919, Hornsby's came to the attention of the St. Louis Cardinals during an exhibition series between that team and the Railroaders in spring training in 1915. Cardinals manager Miller Huggins told his only scout, Bob Connery, to look for minor league players to fill a roster of their financially struggling team. In September, the Cardinals purchased Hornsby's contract from Denison and added him to their major league roster. Although his only professional baseball experience had been in Class D, Hornsby's first game came on September 10th when he relieved Art Butler at shortstop in a 7-1 loss to the Cincinnati Reds. 3 days later, he started a game, and he got his first hit the next day against Ruby Marquardt of the Brooklyn Robins. Excuse me, let me take a sip of water here. Hornsby finished the season with a .246 average and 57 at-bats, while the Cardinals finished in 6th place in the National League. At 19 years old, Hornsby was the 4th youngest player in the National League that year. The Cardinals picked up Roy Corhan from the San Francisco Seals and of the Pacific Coast League to play at shortstop in 1916. Making Hornsby one of 3 candidates for the position. Hornsby's great performance in spring training, a shoulder injury to Corhan, and poor hitting by Butler meant Hornsby was the starting shortstop on opening day. He had both runs batted in the Cardinals' 2-1 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates that day. On May 14th, he had his first major league home run against Joe Pfeffer of Brooklyn. He rotated among infield positions before finally settling in at third base for much of the second half of the year. Late in the season, he missed 11 games with a sprained ankle. He finished 1916 with a .313 average, 4th in the National League, and he was 1 short of the league lead in triples with 15. Hornsby returned to the shortstop position in 1917, and Corhan returned to San Francisco, and Butler was released. After playing nearly every game throughout the first month of the season, Hornsby was called away from the team on May 29th after his brother William was shot and killed in a saloon. Rogers attended the funeral on June 1st and returned to the Cardinals on June 3rd, finishing the season without missing any more playing time. His batting statistics improved from the previous season. His .327 batting average was 2nd in the league, and he led the league in triples with 17 total bases, .253, and a slugging percentage of .484. Many baseball players were drafted to fight in World War I in 1918, but Hornsby was given a draft deferment because he was supporting his family. During the offseason, Miller Huggins' year, Hornsby lacked confidence in Hendricks' ability to run the Cardinals, and the two men developed animosity towards each other as a result of Hornsby's growing egotism and fondness for former manager Huggins. Under Hendricks, Hornsby's batting average dipped to .281, and he had problems off the field too. On June 17th, Hornsby hit St. Louis resident Frank G. Rowe with his Buick when Rowe stepped out in front of traffic to cross an intersection. Rowe sued Hornsby for $15,000, which would be $254,967 today. But Hornsby eventually settled for a smaller, undisclosed amount, and the case was dismissed. He was still among the league leaders in triples and slugging percentage in 1918. But after the season ended with the Cardinals in last place, he announced that he would never play under Hendricks again. Partially due to Hornsby's complaints, Hendricks was fired after the season and replaced by Branch Rickey, the president of the Cardinals. In 1919, after the Cardinals acquired shortstop Doc Lavon, Rickey tried converting Hornsby into a second baseman in spring training, and Hornsby played third base most of the year. His batting average was low at the beginning of the season, but improved by June. At the season's end, his average of .318 was second highest in the league, and he also finished second in total bases and runs batted in. Then we have from 1920 through 1926. In 1920, Rickey moved Hornsby to second base, where he remained for the rest of his career. He started the year with a 14-game hitting streak. On June 4th, he had 2 triples and 2 RBIs as the Cardinals defeated the Cubs 5-1, a game that ended future Hall of Famer Grover Cleveland Alexander's 11-game winning streak. Hornsby finished the season with the first of 7 batting titles by hitting .370, and he also led the league on on-base percentage with .431, slugging percentage .559, hits .218, total bases .329, doubles .44, and RBIs .94. The beginning of the live ball era led to a spike in hitting productivity throughout the majors, which helped Hornsby's hit with increased power during the 1921 season. He hit .397 in 1921, and his 21 home runs were second in the league, more than twice his total in any previous season. He also led the league in on-base percentage with .458, slugging percentage .369, runs scored .131, RBIs 126, doubles 44, and triples 18. The Cardinals held a special day in Hornsby's honor on September 30th before a home game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They presented Hornsby with multiple awards before the game, including a baseball autograph by the President of the United States, Warren G. Harding. The Cardinals beat the Pirates 12-4 that day as Hornsby hit a home run and had 2 doubles. By the 1922 season, Hornsby was considered a big star, having the big league batting average, hits, doubles, and runs batted in multiple times. As a result, he sought a 3-year contract for $25,000 per season. After negotiating with Cardinals management, he settled for a 3-year, $18,500 contract, which would today be $282,576, which made him the highest paid player in league history to that point. On August 5th, Hornsby set a new National League record when he hit his 28th home run of the season off Jimmy Ring of the Philadelphia Phillies. From August 13th through September 19th, he had a 33-game hitting streak. Have a great day. Back to housework. Honeydew is long. All right, baby. No problem. John, we are good to go. I apologize if I made you angry yesterday. Oh, boy. All right. So Hornsby set National League records in 1922 with 42 home runs, 250 hits, and a .722 slugging percentage. Still the highest ever for players with 600-plus at-bats. His .401 batting average was the highest in the National League since 1897. He won the first of 2 Triple Crowns that year and led the league in RBIs with 152. On-base percentage, .459. 46 doubles, 141 runs scored. His 450 total bases in 1922 remained the National League season record. On defense, Hornsby led all second basemen in putouts, double plays, and fielding percentage. On May 8, 1923, Hornsby suffered an injury to his left knee in a game against the Phillies when he turned to make a throw. He returned 10 days later, but the injury lingered, and he was removed from the game against the Pirates on May 26th to be examined by Robert Hyland, the Cardinals' physician. Hyland and Hornsby's knee placed in a cast for 2 weeks, after which he returned to the Cardinals. During a game in August, Hornsby was on third base late in the game and threw up his hands in disgust in response to a sign flashed by Rickey. He had given the current batter the take sign, and Hornsby felt the batter should have hit the ball. After the game, he and Rickey fought in the clubhouse. but the teammates quickly broke it up. Hornsby missed several games late in the year with injuries that the Cardinals and Highland did not believe to be serious. As a result, he was fined $500, which would be $7,503 today, and suspended for the last 5 games of the year. However, Hornsby still won the 4th consecutive National League batting title with a batting average of .384. He also repeated as the leader in on-base percentage with .459 and slugging percentage .627. Hornsby raised his average to .424 in 1924, which is the 4th highest batting average in a single season in MLB history, and the live ball era being average record. He led the leagues with 89 walks, producing a .507 on-base percentage, a National League record for over 75 years. His slugging percentage of .696 again led the league, as did his 121 runs scored, 227 hits, and 43 doubles. He had 25 home runs as well. That year, the National League reintroduced its Most Valuable Player award. Although Hornsby was expected to win the award, it went to Daisy Vance instead. Cincinnati and voter Jack Ryder left Hornsby's name off the ballot altogether because he believed Hornsby was an MVP on the stat sheet, but was not a team player. In 1962, the Baseball Writers Association of America presented Hornsby with an award retroactively recognizing him as the 1924 MVP. All right, let me just do a refresh here on the chat. Got 4 people watching, 4 thumbs up. Again, thummies up, thummies up, thummies up for me. In 1925, Sam Breeden, the owner of the Cardinals, wished to replace Rickey as manager. Hornsby initially declined the job after discovering that Rickey planned to sell his stock in the Cardinals if he was replaced as field manager. Hornsby agreed to take the job as long as Brendan would help him purchase the stock. Breeden agreed, and Hornsby became the Cardinals' manager. Hornsby finished the year with his 2nd Triple Crown, and he combined a .403 batting average with 39 home runs and 143 RBIs in 138 games. He bested teammate Jim Bottingley in the batting title race by nearly 40 points. His 1925 batting average has not been matched by any National Leaguer since. That year, he won the MVP award 73 out of 80 possible votes. His .756 slugging percentage and 1.245 on base plus slugging set the National League's record that stood until broken by Barry Bonds in 2001. The Cardinals finished in 4th place in 1925, finishing 1 game over .500, though the team won 64 games and lost 51 under Hornsby. During the year, his wife Jeanette had a son, Billy. Hornsby had an off year offensively in 1926, as he hit only .317 with 11 home runs. Nonetheless, St. Louis won its first National League pennant in the 1926 World Series. The Cardinals defeated the Yankees in a 7-game series, and Hornsby tagged out Babe Ruth on a stolen base attempt, ending the series and making the Cardinals world champions of baseball. It would also be the only time in Hornsby's long career that he would be part of a world champion. In the series, Hornsby batted .250 with 1 extra base hit and 4 RBIs. Years later, Hornsby said that his tag of Ruth was the biggest thrill of his career. All right. During postseason negotiations for a new contract, Hornsby demanded $50,000 per year for 3 years. Breeden agreed to a 1-year contract for $50,000, which would have been $722,086 today, with the stipulation that Hornsby stay away from the track. When Hornsby refused to give way, the Cardinals traded him to the New York Giants for Frankie Frisch and Jimmy Ring on December 20th, 1926. Indeed, Breeden had lost patience with Hornsby, even though he'd led the Cardinals to their first undisputed world title. He'd already arranged to send him to New York if contract talks fell through, after Breeden said he so wanted to part ways with Hornsby that he was afraid Hornsby would call his bluff and take the one-year deal. The trade was briefly postponed as the National League president, John Heidler, stated that Hornsby could not play for the New York Giants while he held stock in the Cardinals. Hornsby wanted $105 per share for his stock, a price Breeden was unwilling to pay in early 1927. Hornsby was able to sell his shares at $105 each, enabling him to officially become a Giant. Get a sip of water real quick here before we move into the New York Giants time frame. Get a little froggy in my throat. All right, now we move on to the New York Giants. Hornsby enjoyed a better season in 1927 as he hit .361 and led the league in runs scored. With 133 walks with 86, on-base percentage of .448, he was a player coach and managed the Giants for part of the year after John McGraw briefly stood down due to sinusitis. Hornsby's performance helped guide the Giants to a 92-62 win-loss record during the season, which was good enough for third place in the National League. McGraw was initially overjoyed to finally get Hornsby, having sought to trade for him at least as early as 1920. However, their relationship quickly soured due to Hornsby's overbearing personality. Additionally, his gambling problems at the racetrack and distrust for Giants' management annoyed the team owner Charles Stoneham. During the offseason, he was traded to the Boston Braves for Jimmy Welsh and Shanty Hogan. All right, so then on to the Boston Braves. With the Boston Braves in 1928, Hornsby was again the league's most productive hitter. He won his 11th batting title with a .387 average, also leading the league in on-base percentage at .498. Slugging percentage .632 and walks with 107. 1 month into the season, manager Jack Slattery resigned, and the Braves hired Hornsby to be his replacement. The Braves, however, lost 103 games and finished in 7th place out of 8 teams in the National League. They were also struggling financially, and when Chicago Cubs offered $200,000, which would be the equivalent of $2,977,907 today, and 5 players for Hornsby, the Braves found the offer too good to pass up. Indeed, Hornsby was well aware of the Braves' financial struggles and actually encouraged the Braves owner Emil Fuchs to trade him to Chicago. So then we move on to the Chicago Cubs. All right, Hornsby hit .380 for Chicago in 1929 while recording 39 home runs and a league-leading .679 slugging percentage. His 156 runs scored led the major leagues, as is still the team record, with his .380 batting average remains the highest for a Cub since 1895. He also collected another MVP award, and the Cubs won the National League pennant. However, they lost in the 1929 World Series to the Philadelphia Athletics in 5 games. As Hornsby's batted .238 with 1 RBI, he also set a world record for strikeouts with 8. After the first 2 months of the 1930 season, Hornsby was batting .325 with 2 home runs in the first game of a doubleheader against the Cardinals. Hornsby broke his ankle while advancing to third base. He did not return until August 19th, and he was used mostly as a pinch hitter for the rest of the season. With 4 games to go in the season, the Cubs fired manager Joe McCarthy, replacing him with Hornsby. Although There were long-standing rumors Hornsby had actively undermined McCarthy. Hornsby adamantly denied this. In fact, he and McCarthy were very close friends. Hornsby finished the year with a .308 batting average and 2 home runs. On April 24th, 1931, Hornsby hit 3 home runs and drove in 8 runs in a 10-6 victory over Pittsburgh. Hornsby played in 44 of the first 48 games, but after a disappointing performance, he only played himself about half the time for the rest of the year. In 100 games, he had 90 RBIs, 37 doubles, and a batting average of .331. He also led the league in on-base percentage with .421 for the 9th time in his career. The team finished 84-70, 17 games back of the pennant-winning Cardinals and 4 games back of the Giants. The 1931 season was Hornsby's last as a full-time player. Boils on his feet bothered him during the start of the 1932 season, and he did not play his first game until May 29th. Hornsby played right field from May 29th through June 10th, appearing in 2 games as a pinch hitter. Played on third base from July 14th to July 18th, and played one last game as a Cub when he pinch hit on July 31st. Cubs president William Veeck Sr. Had never liked the idea of Hornsby as a manager. Indeed, he briefly resigned when principal owner William Wrigley Jr. ousted McCarthy in his favor. Over the next year and a half, Veeck grew increasingly dissatisfied with Hornsby, believing his autocratic managing style hurt the team morale. Veeck was particularly angered when Hornsby disagreed with an umpire's call, but sent another player out to argue the call. That player was ejected from the game, and Veeck believed Hornsby breached an unwritten rule of baseball, which he called for the manager to argue calls himself. On August the 2nd, although the Cubs were in second place, Hornsby was released, and first baseman Charlie Grimm replaced him as manager. Hornsby played 19 games, batting .224 with 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Although the Cubs advanced to the 1932 World Series, the players voted not to give Hornsby any of the World Series money. Then we have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Browns. Hornsby did not play for the rest of 1932, but the Cardinals signed him as a player on October 24th for the 1933 season. Breeden put aside his previous disputes with Hornsby and brought him back to St. Louis, knowing that Hornsby could still handle a bat. He played regularly at second base from April 25th through May 5th, but he was used mostly as a pinch hitter with the Cardinals due to numerous foot and leg problems. On July 22nd, he had his final National League hit in a 9-5 loss to the Braves. Through July 23rd, Hornsby was batting .325 with 2 home runs and 21 RBIs. However, with the Cardinals in 5th place and long out of the pennant race, Breeden was concerned that Hornsby was no longer able to play regularly. With this in mind, the Cardinals chose to place him on waivers. Hornsby was claimed off the last place St. Louis Browns of the American League on July 26 as a player manager. Bill Cleffer had just resigned as Browns' manager, and Browns owner Phil Ball wanted Hornsby as a replacement. Hornsby appeared in 11 games for his Browns, and he had 3 hits, including a home run and 9 at-bats. The Browns finished in last place in the American League that year, and Hornsby began operating a baseball school in Hot Springs, Arizona, which he ran on and off between 1933 and 1951 with various associates, played in a total of 57 games in 1933. His 46 games with the Cardinals that year would be his last non-cameo appearance as a player. In 1934, Hornsby appeared in 24 games, but started only 2 of them, one at third base and the other in right field. In all of his other appearances, he was a pinch hitter. For the season, he batted .304 with 1 home run, 11 RBIs, and the Browns improved on their previous season, finishing in 6th place out of 8 teams in the American League. Hornsby played in 10 games in the 1935 season. Starting in 4 from April 16th through April 21st, he started at first base and started at third base on May 22nd. He finished the year with 5 hits and a .208 average, while the Browns slipped to 7th place. Hornsby only appeared in 2 games with the team during the 1936 season. On May 31st, his pinch hit single in the 9th inning gave the Browns an 11-10 win over the Detroit Tigers. In his other appearance on June 9th, he played first base in a 5-3 win over the Yankees. The Browns again finished in 7th place. In 1937, Hornsby played in 20 games. On April 21st, in his first game of the year, Hornsby hit the final home run of his career in a 10-15 victory over the Chicago Cubs. Or the Chicago White Sox, I'm sorry. On July 5th, he had the final hit of his career in a 15-4 loss in the second game of a doubleheader with the Cleveland Indians. Then on July 20th, Hornsby appeared in what would be his final game, a 5-4 loss to the Yankees. A day later, Hornsby was fired as manager and released as a player by the Browns, who were in last place at the time of his release. His release was partly due to an incident with the Browns owner Donald LeBarnes. On July 15th, Hornsby won $35,000, $622,465 today from betting on a horse race. When he tried to use $4,000 of his money to pay off a debt to Barnes, Barnes refused to accept it, since it had come from a bookmaker. Hornsby protested to Barnes, "The money is as good as the money you take from people in the loan shark business. It's better than taking interest from widows and orphans." This made Hornsby's release 5 days later an easier decision for Barnes. Hornsby finished the 1937 season with a .321 batting average and 18 hits in 20 games, and was the oldest player in the American League that season. As far as baseball schools, before opening his own baseball school, Hornsby was an instructor at the Roy Dean Baseball School, which operated from 1934 to 1938 at Van Johnson Park, Fogle Field, and Majestic Park in Hot Springs, Arizona, the site of many early spring training facilities. Then, in 1939, Hornsby started the Rogers Hornsby Baseball College in Hot Springs after Doane moved his schools elsewhere. Hornsby ran the 6-week event annually until 1952, usually attracted 100 to 200 prospects. Cy Young, Jimmy Fox, Tris Speaker, Schoolboy Rowe were among the instructors for Hornsby School. Held in conjunction with the baseball schools was the George Barr Umpire School, the first umpire instructional school with students under the direction of Barr, a major league umpire. And then we have here his latter baseball career. Following his release from the Browns, Hornsby was unable to retire because he had lost so much money gambling over the years. He signed as a player coach with the Baltimore Orioles of the International League in 1938 before leaving them to play for and manage the Chattanooga Lookouts of the Southern Association for the rest of the season. Hornsby then returned to the Orioles to manage them for 1939, but he did not return to the club the following season. Halfway through 1940, he signed to manage the Oklahoma City Indians of the Texas League. He led them from last place in to the Texas League playoffs, where they fell to the Houston Buffaloes in 4 games. Hornsby began the 1941 year managing the Indians once again, but he resigned in the middle of the season. In November, he became the general field manager of the Fort Worth Cats, also of the Texas League. Fort Worth finished in third place and made the playoffs in 1942, but they were eliminated in the first round by the Shreveport Sports. The league decided to suspend operations for the duration of World War II in 1943. In February of 1944, Hornsby signed as a player-manager with the Veracruz Blues of La Liga Mexicana in Mexico for the upcoming season. Hornsby won 2 games, inserting himself as a pitcher in the 9th inning, including one occasion in which he drove in 3 runs with a bases-loaded double. His tenure in Mexico ended after only 9 days. However, owing to financial differences with team owner Jorge Pascal, Hornsby announced, "I'm perfectly willing to keep my own agreements if the other fella keeps his, but in this case, it's hopeless. I found out that I'd even have to pay my expenses on road trips, and that's unheard of. The management finally consented to pay my expenses, but there were many other matters to iron out. I finally just gave up." Hornsby indicated plans to return to Fort Worth, Texas. Following his return to the United States, Hornsby spent 1945 out of baseball for the first time in over 3 decades. There were rumors that Commissioner Keenshaw Mountain Landis had informally blackballed him from the majors because of his persistent gambling. However, Hornsby had a long wait to get another major league job even after Landis died in 1944. He did some commentary for radio station WTMV, served as a spring training hitting instructor for the Chicago White Sox in 46 and the Cleveland Indians in 47, and became a TV announcer for the Chicago Cubs in 1949. Hornsby did not become manager-coach until 1950 when he was hired to manage the Texas League's Beaumont Roughnecks. Beaumont won the pennant, but they were swept in the first round of playoffs by the San Antonio Missions. The next year, in 1951, Hornsby managed the Seattle Rainiers of the Pacific Coast League. Under Hornsby's leadership, the Rainiers won the pennant. Hornsby's success in Beaumont in Seattle garnered him 3 identical year offers to manage both St. Louis major league teams. He decided to return to the Browns, apparently believing there was a greater upside to rebuilding a perennial loser than there was to managing a perennial contender. The Browns owner, Bill Veeck, was the son of former Cubs president William Veeck Sr. Hornsby was not well received by the players. However, he reportedly only spoke to a player to criticize them. As the season wore on and the losses piled up, Hornsby's fuse became even shorter. On June 9th, he was fired due to a disagreement with Veeck over the incident against the Yankees the day before. During the game, a fan prevented Gil McDonald of the Yankees from catching a fly ball, and the umpire ruled it was fan interference. Hornsby did not initially argue the call, and a few minutes later, Veeck forced him to do it, when it was already too late to do anything about it. This led to Hornsby and the Browns parting ways. The Browns players were so happy about Hornsby's firing that they gave Veeck an engraved trophy to thank him. A little over a month later, on July 26th, Hornsby was hired to replace Luke Sewell as manager of the Cincinnati Reds. After Hornsby completed 2 mediocre seasons with the club, the Reds announced that he would not return for 1954. He resigned with 8 games to go in the season, and coach Buster Mills replaced him. He finished his MLB managerial career with a record of 701 and 812. Following his dismissal from the Reds, Hornsby worked as a coach for the Chicago Cubs from 1958 to 1960 before becoming a scout and third base coach for the New York Mets in 1962. In 1963, Hornsby died of a heart attack. He was buried at Hornsby Bend Cemetery near Austin, Texas. There you go. There you have it. The biography for Rajah Hornsby, for our Hall of Fame our only Hall of Fame inductee for today. So we have 5 people watching now. 8 thumbs up, thummies up, thummies up, thummies up for me. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm pretty sure we still got people hopping in here. I'm hoping. So let me see here. How do I get this one? There we go. All right. Next, we are going to do our tribute biography for Whitey Ford. Let me get a sip of water. Are there still people in here with me? I see 4 people watching, 8 thumbs up. If I can get somebody to chat in the stream so I know there's still somebody here with me. But if not, you're probably just watching in the background. I understand. So I do have some cards here too for Whitey Ford. I guess I'll just go through and highlight these real quick before we get into his biography. We'll go through Whitey Ford's cards here that I have a few cards in my collection here. Go through these cards just really quick, and then we will get into his biography. They took our jobs. Okay. Baseball all-time grades, playing years 1950 to 1967 for Whitey Ford. John says, I'm here now. Appreciate you, John. All right. So this is another, I can't remember what, it's not really a brand. It doesn't really have a card number on it. I think it's just some cards that were made up, some baseball all-time great cards. A set. I don't even know for sure what year they made this set. Doesn't have a copyright or anything. But then I know this here was, I believe, in a 2019 product when I got it last year. If I remember right. Trying to say it. Hold on. Let me get my extra eyeball here if I can reach it. I cannot really make out what year this is from. Does it really? I don't see an year. Any year. It does have a copyright. It's a Panini product. Cooperstown. 2013. I just caught a glimpse in a different spot. It had it on here twice, but this one was clearer. So it does say right here, 2013. I don't know what they call these, like Stars of the Diamond, one in every 5-cent package of Colgan's Violet chips and mint chips, whatever those were back in the day. And there's one just like we had for Rogers Hornsby there for Whitey Ford, baseball greats, a swell baseball card set. This is card number 8. All right. And then we've got a high praise. The bases could be loaded and the pennant riding on it every pitch. It never bothered Whitey. Hall of Fame. That was said of Hall of Famer Mickey Mantle, 1974, Whitey Ford. This is from the Cooperstown collection. I believe it's 2012. Yep. Then we have a Topps Collectors Series, all-time record holder, Whitey Ford. All right. This is a 1985 baseball card set. Then we have a Whitey Ford pitcher for the New York Yankees. This is the Ultimate 1954 season. The set that never was. Then we've got this Leaf product, Heroes of Baseball. Whitey Ford. This one is a 2015 Leaf product. This Upper Deck Whitey Ford Yankees pitcher masterpieces was a Upper Deck product from 2008. And then this one is another Whitey Ford. What is this set? This is a Ted Williams set from it looks like 1993. Then here we got is Cooperstown Induction year of 1974. Can't remember if this one was a... I'm trying to remember. Oh, this is just a little bit thicker card. I know I have one card in this from the Cooperstown sets, I think 2012 and 13, that it's almost like it's a bat. The card is like a piece of bat or a wood texture type card. Playoff Honors 2004, Whitey Ford, pitcher. This is from a 2004 Donruss set. This Whitey Ford from a Topps Fire product from 2018. Then this Upper Deck 62 Yankees Legends of New York. This is a 2001 Upper Deck product, Cooperstown collection. And then, of course, the Whitey Ford pitcher, New York Yankees. This is the Ultimate 1953 series. So there we go with some... Robert Owen says, just lurking. Haley Deegan, NASCAR fan and Cardinals fan, 1990 is in the house. All right. So there is the tribute for today. Rest in peace, Whitey Ford. Whitey Ford passed away today. Another baseball great. And now we are going to do his biography here, and then we'll be ending the stream for today. All right. Whitey Ford. Edward Charles Whitey Ford. Born October 21st, 1928, died October 9th, 2020. He died at the age of 91. Didn't quite make it to his 92nd birthday. It would have been the 21st of October. Nicknamed the chairman of the board, was an American professional baseball player who played his entire 16-year Major League Baseball career with the New York Yankees. The team retired his uniform number 16 in his honor on Saturday, August 3rd, 1974. Ford was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame on Monday, August the 12th in 1974, and Ford died on October 8th, 2020 at the age of 91. Ford is a 10-time Major League Baseball All-Star and 6-time World Series champion. In 1961, he won both the Cy Young Award and World Series Most Valuable Player. Ford led the American League in wins 3 times and in earned run average twice. In the wake of Yogi Berra's death in 2015, George Vexey, writing in the New York Times, suggested that Ford was now the greatest of the living Yankees. And we got to take a station identification break. We have 2 super chats. That's neat. One... So Haley Deegan, NASCAR fan and Cardinals fan, 1990, has a $2 super chat and a $1 super chat, which makes it $3 in a super chat. Thanks there, Haley Deegan fan and Cardinals fan. Let me get you entered now into my drawing here for the month of October. You got 3 entries. Let me get you added in here real quick into the Wheel of Names with Bibi Bobka. That was the first in the chat this morning. Okay, 1, 2, 3 entries into the Wheel of Names. Haley Deegan, NASCAR fan, Cardinals fan, 1990. Thank you very much for those 2 super chats. I looked up there and all of a sudden I seen color. I was like, oh, that only means one thing, so I got to take a station identification break. All right. Thank you there, Haley. Appreciate that. Haley Deegan, NASCAR fan and Cardinals fan, 1990. Appreciate that very much. let us get back into our biography at hand now. Going through Whitey Ford's biography. Okay? So as far as his early life and career, Ford was born in Manhattan on 66th Street at the age of 5 and moved to Astoria, 34th Avenue neighborhood of Queens in New York City, a few miles from Triborough Bridge to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. He attended public school and graduated from the Manhattan High School of Aviation Trades. Ford was signed by the New York Yankees as an amateur free agent in 1947 and played his entire career with them. While still in the minor leagues, he was nicknamed Whitey Ford for his light blonde hair. Ford began his Major League Baseball career on July 1st, 1950 with the Yankees and made a spectacular debut, winning his first 9 decisions before losing a game in relief. Ford received a handful of lower ballot most valuable player votes despite throwing just 112 innings, and was voted the American League Rookie of the Year by Sporting News. Walt Dropo was the Rookie of the Year choice of the BBWA. In 1951, Ford married Joan at St. Patrick's Catholic Church in Glen Cove, New York, on Long Island. They lived in this city for a period during the 1950s. They had 2 sons and a daughter together. During the Korean War era in 1951 and 1952, Ford served in the Army. Go Army! He replaced the Yankees for the 1953 season, and the Yankee Big Three pitching staff became a Big Four as Ford joined Allie Reynolds, Vic Raschi, and Eddie Lapotte. As far as his pitching career, Ford eventually went to form the number 4 pitcher on a great staff to the universally acclaimed number 1 pitcher of the Yankees. He became known as the chairman of the board for his ability to remain calm and in command during high-pressure situations. He was also known as Slick, a nickname given to him by Billy Martin and Mickey Mantle by manager Casey Stengel, who called him Whiskey Slicks. Ford's guile was necessary because he did not have an overwhelming fastball, but being able to throw several other pitches very well gave him pinpoint control. Ford was an effective strikeout pitcher for his time, tying the American League record for 6 consecutive strikeouts in 1956 and again in 1958. Ford never threw a no-hitter, but he pitched 2 consecutive one-hit games in 1955 to tie a record held by several pitchers. Sal Maglie, star pitcher for the New York Giants, thought Ford was a similar style to his own writing in 1958, that Ford had a good curve, good control, a changeup, and an occasional sneaky fastball. In 1955, Ford led the American League in complete games and games won. In 1956, earned run average and winning percentage. In 1958, in earned run average, and in both 1961 and 1963 in games won and winning percentage. Ford won the Cy Young Award in 1961. He likely would have won the 1963 American League Cy Young, but was before the institution of a separate award for each league. And Ford could not match Sandy Koufax's numbers for the Los Angeles Dodgers of the National League. Ford would also have been a candidate in 1955, but this was before the award was created. Some of Ford's totals were depressed by Yankees manager Casey Stengel, who viewed Ford as his top pitching asset and often reserved his ace left-hander for more formidable opponents such as the Tigers, Indians, and White Sox. When Ralph Hook became manager in 1961, he promised Ford that he would pitch every 4th day, regardless of the opponent. After exceeding 30 starts only once in his 9 seasons under Stengel, Ford had 39 in 1961. His first 20-win season, a career best 25-4 record, and Cy Young Award ensued, but Ford's season was overshadowed by the home run battle between Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. As a left-hander with an excellent pick-off move, Ford was also deft at keeping runners at their base. He set a record in 1961 by pitching 243 consecutive innings without allowing a stolen base. In May 1963, after pitching a shutout, Ford announced he had given up smoking. He said, "My doctor told me that whenever I think of smoking, I should think of a bus starting up and blowing the exhaust in my face." All right, let me pop in the chat real quick here. Robert Holmes says, "I saw him pitch against the Indians as well as some other teams. It never appeared he was even working. No grunts or even sweat. He was the most unspectacular pitcher I ever saw." That's nice there, Robert. Interesting factoid there. All right. So his career statistics: Ford won 236 games for New York, with a career of 236 and 106, still a franchise record. Red Ruffing, the previous Yankee record holder, still leads the Yankee right-handed pitchers, with 231 of his 273 career wins coming with the Yankees. Other Yankee pitchers have more career wins, for example, Roger Clemens notching his 300th career victory as a Yankee, but amassed them for multiple franchises. David Wells tied Whitey Ford for 13th place in victories by a left-hander on August the 26th, 2007. Among pitchers with at least 300 career decisions, Ford ranks first with a winning percentage of .690, the all-time highest percentage in modern baseball history. During the 16 years that Ford played for the Yankees, 1950 and 1953 to 67, his .690 winning percentage outpaced that of the Yankees, who had a record of 1,486 wins, 1,027 losses, .594 winning percentage during the same years, and who were 1,027 and 106. With a .576. I think they're missing a digit there. For games in which Ford did not earn a decision. Ford's 2.75 earned run average is the second lowest among starting pitchers whose careers began after the advent of the live ball era in 1920. Only Clayton Kershaw's current 2.51 ERA is lower. Ford's worst ever ERA was 3.24. Ford had 45 shutout victories in his career, including 8 1-0 wins. As a hitter, Ford posted a 173 batting average, baseball batting average, 177 for 1,023. With 91 runs, 3 home runs, 69 runs batted in, and 113 base on balls. In 22 World Series games, he batted .082, 4 for 49, with 4 runs, 3 RBIs, and 7 walks. Defensively, he recorded a .961 fielding percentage. World Series and All-Star games. Ford's status on the Yankees was underscored by his World Series feats. He was New York's Game 1 pitcher in 1955, 56, 57, 58, 61, 62, 63, and 64. Ford is the only pitcher to start 4 consecutive Game 1s, a streak he reached twice. In the 1960 World Series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, Stengel altered his strategy by holding Ford back until Game 3, a decision that angered Ford. The Yankees ace won both his starts in Games 3 and 6 with complete game shutouts, but was then unavailable to relieve in the last game of a Yankees loss, the Pirates winning the game and the series. On Bill Mazeroski's walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth, Ford always felt that he had been able to appear in 3 games instead of just 2, the Yankees would have won. For his career, Ford had 10 World Series victories, more than any other pitcher. Ford also leads all starters in World Series losses with 8 and starts 22, as well as innings, hits, walks, and strikeouts. In 1961, he broke Babe Ruth's World Series record of 29 and 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. The record eventually reached 33 and 2/3, although Major League Baseball rule makers retroactively reduced the record to 33 innings, since Ford did not complete a full inning before allowing the streak ending to run. It is still a World Series record, although Mariano Rivera broke it as a postseason record in 2000. Ford won the 1961 World Series MVP. In addition to Yankee Stadium, Ford also pitched World Series games in 7 other stadiums: Ebbets Field in 1953 and 56, Milwaukee County Stadium in 1957 and 58, Forbes Field 1960, Crossley Field 1961, Candlestick Park in 1962, Dodger Stadium in 1963, Sportsman's Park in 1964, and Ford appeared on 8 All-Star teams between 1954 and 1964. As far as his retirement, Ford ended his career in declining health on August 1966. He underwent surgery to correct a circulatory problem in his throwing shoulder. In May of 1967, Ford lasted just 1 inning in what would be his final start, and he announced his retirement at the end of the month at age 38. Ford wore number 19 in his rookie season. Following his return from the Army in 53, he wore number 16 for the remainder of his career, and it would later be retired by the Yankees on Saturday, August 3rd, 1974. Ford was a Yankees coach in 2 different stints, 1968 as first base coach and 1974 and 75 as a pitching coach. After retiring, Ford admitted in interviews to having occasionally doctored baseballs. Examples were the mud ball used at home in Yankee Stadium. Yankee groundskeeper would wet down the area near the catcher's box where the Yankee catcher, Eston Howard, was positioned. Pretending to lose balance, Howard would put down his hand with the ball and coat it one side of the ball with mud and throw it to Ford. Ford sometimes used the diamond in his wedding ring to gouge the ball, but he was eventually caught by an umpire and warned to stop. Howard sharpened a buckle on his shin guard and used it to scuff the ball. Ford described his illicit behavior as concession to age. I didn't begin cheating until late in my career, when I needed something to help me survive. I didn't cheat when I won the 25 games in 1961, and I don't want anybody to get any ideals and make my Cy Young Award away. And I didn't cheat in 1963 when I won 24 games. Well, maybe a little. Ford admitted to doctoring the ball in 1961 All-Star game in Candlestick Park to strike out Willie Mays. Ford and Mantle had accumulated $1,200, $10,143 today in golf pro shop purchases as guests of Horace Stoneham at the Giants owner's country club. Stoneham promised to pay their tab if Ford could strike out Mays. "What was that all about?" Mays asked. "I'm sorry, Willie, but I had to throw you a spitter," Ford replied. In 1977, Ford was part of the broadcast team for the first game of the Toronto Blue Jays history. In 2008, Ford threw out the first pitch at the 2008 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. On September 21st, 2008, Ford and Yogi Berra were guests of the broadcast team in the final game played at Yankee Stadium. In 2002, Ford opened Whitey Ford's Cafe, a sports-themed restaurant and bar next to Roosevelt Field Mall. in Garden City, New York. A replica of Yankee Stadium facade trimmed both the exterior and the bar, whose stools displayed uniform numbers of Yankee luminaries. Widescreen TVs were installed throughout. The main dining area housed a panoramic display of Yankee Stadium from the 1950s, specifically a Chicago White Sox Yankee game with Ford pitching and Mickey Mantle in center field. The Yanks are up 2-0. Waiters and waitresses dressed in Yankees road uniforms with Ford's retired number 16 on the back. It lasted less than a year before it closed down. During the 1950s, Ford lived for a period in Glen Cove on the north shore of Long Island. As of 2015, the 86-year-old Ford was splitting his time between his home in Long Island and Florida. All right. So as far as his legacy and honors, in 1974, Ford and Mickey Mantle were both elected to baseball's Hall of Fame. At that time, the Yankees retired his number 16. In 1987, the Yankees dedicated plaques for Monument Park at Yankee Stadium for Ford and Lefty Gomez. In 1999, Ford ranked 52nd on the Sporting News list of baseball's greatest players. He was nominated that year for the Major League Baseball All-Century Team. In 2003, Ford was inducted into the Nassau County Sports Hall of Fame. And then in 1994, a road in Mississauga, Ontario was named Ford Road in his honor. The north central area of Mississauga is known formally as the Baseball Zone, as several streets in the area are named for Hall of Fame baseball players. In 2000, the ball field overlooking the East River on 26th Avenue between 1st and 2nd Streets in Astoria, Queens, was named after the chairman of the board at a special Yankee Stadium ceremony. So there you have it, the biography for the late, great Whitey Ford. Robert Hone says, Donald, go Army, give me a break. I know, I'm a Navy guy, but I gotta support him. He was an Army guy. All right, can't knock him for that. He served our country with pride, not only on the battlefield, but in Major League Baseball. All right. I used to do work in Mississauga, and you weren't close, huh? Okay, you got to break it down. How am I supposed to pronounce it there, John? Mississauga? Can you break down the pronunciation for me? That way I know how to pronounce it right, if I ever do it again. Just kind of curious, John. I used to work in Mississauga. Or is it Mississauga? Mississauga. I would have never thought of it that way. Mississauga. Mississauga. Gua. Gua? Gua. I think maybe that's how you say the end. Gua. Mississauga. Mississauga. Let me see if I can say that really fast. Google it, huh? have Google pronounce it for me, huh? And then I'd hear it, right? I'll do that another time. Google it, huh? Close. Mississauga. Mississauga. Oh my word. You guys. It's always fun hanging out with my friends here on YouTube, that's for sure. But hopefully you enjoyed our Hall of Fame Friday. Rogers Hornsby, the only inductee for 1942. Let me see who we got next week so I can give you a little preview as to who our Hall of Famers are next week and how many we have. Oh, we're going to have a big lineup next week. We got 10 Hall of Famers next week as we get ready to round up the series. I'll go through the names here real quickly. We got Cap Anson with the Chicago White Stockings. We got Eddie Collins with the Chicago White Sox. We got Charles Comiskey with the Chicago White Sox. We got Candy Cummings with the Hartford Blues. We've got Buck Ewing with the New York Giants. We got Lou Gehrig with the New York Yankees. We got Willie Keeler with the New York Yankees. We got Charles Radburn with the Providence Grays. We're going to have George Sisler with the St. Louis Browns. And oh my word, the all-famous Al Spalding with the Chicago White Sox. We're going to have a good percentage. Yegua. Is that what it is? Yegua? Yegua. Or is that the nickname? Is that the nickname they called it? Yegua? 90% there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. It's almost noon here. We've been on for an hour and a half. I'm going to have my normal lunchtime schedule today. And hopefully you all have a great... If Whitey ever got near the battlefield, I'd be shocked. Well, yeah, I know that. I know that there, Robert. All right, let me turn the camera around quick so you can see me. Do my signature sign-off here. This has been Donald Blomdahl, Hall of Fame veteran, sports cards and collectibles. Having been live to you this Hall of Fame Friday with Rogers Hornsby, and rest in peace for Whitey Ford. Passed away today, October the 9th, 2020. So you all have a great and wonderful day. I am wearing my Hall of Fame, Seattle Mariners Hall of Fame t-shirt for my Hall of Fame Friday content. Tomorrow we will be doing the 1995 Denny's Grand Slam baseball card set. We will be highlighting through that set, going over the information on the cards for that baseball card set, and we'll see if we get anything in the mail today. I do have a couple packages coming in. I don't know for sure if it's mine or my daughter's, or sometimes I never know until I get the packages to say, oh, here's a family mail call package. But if and when I do get one in, that will always be toward the end of the streams. Change your life's direction and get out of the firing line. Woohoo! All right, so let me turn the camera back around real quick. All right, so that we can get ready to close things up here. Let me move that down a budge there. So you all have, too late, John, I stopped a couple. All right, you all have a great and wonderful Wednesday. I believe I didn't see Kevin's card collecting anymore in here. I'm pretty sure probably at 3 o'clock he'll probably be doing his Fairfield Friday live stream. Again, Kevin does his streams once every Friday. So we will do that and have that. So until then, you all have a great and wonderful Friday. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. sharp for our Grand Slam Saturdays. All right, bye, take care, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. You too there, Robert. Cards in my car with Robert Posada, Robert Hone, John Fishman. Go through some of the people that were here real quick before I do sign off. Haley Deegan, NASCAR Cardinals fan, gave me 2 super chats, one for $2, one for $1. And Bibby Bobko is here today. Elliot Breaks was in the house today. So we did have a few people. I got up to 10 thumbs up. That was awesome. 5 watching right now. So you all have a great and wonderful day, and we will see you tomorrow morning for our Grand Slam Saturday series.